Patriots, are we live? I think we are. I think this is the first time, unprecedented, on Wonderland Wednesday that I got that right at the first time at the top of the show. Kristin Davis with me. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Wake Up Patriots. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kristin.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Karyn. We had a seamless launch this morning. It's our first one. I'm so excited.
That's absolutely incredible. It only took us a couple weeks, too. So welcome, everybody that's in the chat this morning. I'm jumping into Rumble right now. And just like on the old show, my volume was turned up. So all the glitches haven't been worked out. But I don't think anybody heard that. So I think it's perfectly okay. I probably could have kept it to myself.
You probably could have. I heard nothing. As my son
there you
says.
go. Well, today is a really special day, not only because every day is a special day when you wake up in the rabbit hole, and today being no exception. Anytime Joe Biden is president, quite frankly, I feel like I am in a rabbit hole. And we have somebody really, really special joining us who was a part of our old show, has been a part of my life now as a guest for, I guess, about 2 years. We're talking MAGA. We got MAGA Mike coming up in just a few minutes, and I could not be more excited. He's been a part of like the Ked family since the very beginning, Kristin.
I'm sorry that I haven't actually met him yet, but I'm excited to have him on.
Well, you are going to meet him virtually in just a few minutes, and I want to get right to it. I want to say a prayer real quickly for the parents of Rachel Morin and anybody else who's been affected, injured, or killed by these illegals in this country. Joe Biden yesterday speaking on the border, screwing up Mayorkas's name. We'll get to that with MAGA Mike. There's so much happening, but I want to get right to Jesus calling and read today's passage because it's really beautiful, Kristin. I speak to you continually. My nature is to communicate, though always not in words. I fling glorious sunsets across the sky, day after day after day. I speak in the faces and voices of loved ones. I caress you with a gentle breeze that refreshes and delights you. I speak softly in the depths of your spirit while I've taken up residence. You can find me in each moment, and when you have the eyes that see and the ears that hear, ask my spirit to sharpen your spiritual insight and hearing. I rejoice every time you discover my presence. Practice looking and listening for me during quiet intervals. Gradually, you will find me in more and more of your moments. You will seek me and find me when you seek me above all else. So there we are. Welcome to Wonderland Wednesday.
That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I'm excited to see what rabbit hole we're going down today.
We are.
How many of them we're going down, I should
We're
say.
going to really, we're really going to stay on task today in true fashion with MAGA Mike as our guest. And, why don't you just bring him right in? I mean, I think he should just be the third wheel here in the show and host the rest of the show with us. I mean, it's MAGA Mike. We're talking MAGA, for God's sakes. Good morning.
Good
KT,
morning,
how are you?
Mike.
How you been? Nice to see you.
I've been amazing. I'm great. I'm great. Hanging with the grandbaby. Here
Yes.
Tuesday and Wednesdays on Rumble at 9 a.m. with my great friend Kristin Davis, who I'm so delighted to introduce
nice
you to.
Meet you.
Nice to meet you. Happy to connect.
Yes, excellent stuff. Got to come down to Florida, KT, and see you guys. We're planning an August trip when it's nice and cool.
Oh, I love that.
That's the best time, August.
Nice and cool where? I mean, that's the question. It's pretty hot in Florida. It's pretty hot where you are too. You're in North Carolina, right?
Absolutely. We got some nice weather here. Got my buddy Chris in from Chicago. We got a big member guest tournament this week, so looking to enjoy that. But it's gorgeous here in the Carolinas right this week.
There you go. Great golf weather. I don't know if either of you caught Ed this morning. I know our chat caught Ed this morning, but he was on Locals this morning and he was doing this GR. If I say to you GRWM, do you know what that means, MAGA Mike?
GRWN.
M as in man, since we discovered, two genders.
No, God, no, I do not know that, thankfully.
Well, GRWM is the get ready with me trend. And Ed Henry was on Locals this morning doing his makeup this morning because I guess he's got some behind the scenes stuff going on over at Newsmax. And, this is a trend that's been going on. I don't know, Kristin, are you familiar with the get ready with me trend?
Oh yeah, I love those trends. I don't know what it is about watching someone and they're telling you something and they're getting ready that I find fascinating, but I love them.
Yeah, no, he was doing his makeup. He was in full view of everybody on local. So if you're not on our locals channel, this is definitely a great time to sign up when Ed Henry is doing Get Ready With Me videos. That's going to be something you're going to want to be a part of. And I want to give a shout out to our chat. Not only do we have the great MAGA Mike back with us, but it is happy birthday Sodak Patriots today. So big shout out to Sodak. Want to wish her a happy birthday. And I also want to share, the chat's been asking me how Pam and Paisley is, Kristen. And I think we have a picture of Pam and Paisley since she hasn't been in the Rumble chat, but she's promised me she's going to log on. There she is. She is winning, just like Donald Trump is going to be winning in 2024. That is her horse, Cowgirl. So everybody that is asked about Pam, she's fantastic. My family's fantastic. And thank you so much, all of you, for being a part of Wake Up Patriots and a part of this family. It's great. We're so happy to have you. And MAGA Mike, welcome back.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. A lot going on. Big year.
Yeah, big year. So, and it's a big year. Joe Biden bumbled yesterday, Kristen. I think you have the video. Let's play it. I think I sent you a clip of where he butchers Mayorkas's name. This is just yesterday.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband. Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure going to do but all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas, as well as Secretary Becerra.
So,
Karyn, stop doctoring
kidding
videos,
aside.
Karyn, stop.
Right? And, they try to brush this off like it's a joke. Like, here he is. Like, I feel like he's almost been instructed, MAGA, that, he's basically being told, like, if you don't remember somebody's name, say, all joking aside, ha, ha, ha. And people will think we're playing with them.
Yeah, it's become really embarrassing at this point, but they don't care. And I've said this to Eddie before. They just want to trot him out because they know that, anybody other than Trump is their hope. Okay. And you had Mop Top, obviously, this week at the podium at the press conferences saying, don't believe your eyes and ears. He's fine. Trust us. He's fine. We know in private, he's great. He's on sharp as a tack in private, but don't believe your eyes and ears, and don't believe those MAGA extremists that are doctoring those videos in their mean memes. But he's fine. Trust us.
And that video was not doctored. And, I think the other thing that's really interesting is I was actually watching some talking heads on another network, which I won't mention on this show, but I was watching them talk about yesterday, what went on, how he bumbles, this and that, and saying that his cognitive ability has gotten worse here recently. And I'm looking at it, Mike and Kristen, and I'm saying to myself, this has been pretty bad going back. So I took a little search on the internet. I went down a rabbit hole, and I actually found a video that the Economic Times put together. They circulated online on YouTube, and it's a compilation from 2022. Let's watch that one.
We're doing it for the first time now in the 21st century, going into the 20th. From the 20th century going into the second quarter of the 21st century, that we'd say 12 years is enough. I think 12 years is enough going into 20, 30, 40, 50. The rebuilding of Syria, of Libya, they're there. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for Colombia's leadership in the ASEAN chair.
Really? So is it getting worse, or has it always been this bad?
I think it's always been this bad. They've just covered it up for years. And like MAGA Mike said, he hit the nail on the head with they would like anyone other than Trump. So they don't care what his mental facilities are like right now. They really don't.
I mean, what they have to do is, they just have to appeal to the worst elements of people with this stuff, because they just know that he's not going to win. Okay. He's definitely not, competent. And for those of us, I mean, it's kind of mean for us to make fun of people with dementia and Alzheimer's, both Kathleen's mom and my mom had it. It's mean, but they weren't running the damn country. Okay. They weren't making decisions that impact the lives of everyday Americans. So it's to the point here where I said this kind of thing to Eddie last week. I said, I go to liberals that I talk to, and I have relationships with them despite what people say. And I'm like, do you really believe this guy has it together? Do you really believe that this guy can run the country and run meetings and make decisions the way he stumbles, bumbles, and mumbles? And they say to me with a straight face, and these are successful businessmen, okay? And they say, well, you know, Mike, he's had a stuttering problem since he's been a kid. No lie. And they truly believe it. And I've asked guys that worked in D.C. who work with liberals a lot, I go, do they really believe the garbage that comes out of their mouth? And they do tell me some of them are true believers. They so believe in the cause of liberalism and leftism that they will overlook all of this stuff, you know, just to get that agenda through. And it's sad.
Ignore the obvious, Kristin. Ignore the obvious. I mean, he called her mop head. I didn't. MAGA Mike said it, but she was up there, you know, talking the other day, and you know, basically saying that these are deep fakes, that we are playing videos that have been doctored. I mean, do people buy this?
I think I know a few liberals because I work, you know, in politics, and I work not on both sides, but sometimes in the middle. And they definitely, I think it's just a hatred of Trump. You know, they hate him so badly that they believe that this guy is okay, because to consider that he's not would mean that the other option that's looking more viable is Trump. And they just can't admit that to themselves. So they've drunk the Kool-Aid, and they're in bed with everything is fine. What you're seeing is just a misstep. You know, it's just one-time occurrence. And it's, you know, I think wholeheartedly they believe it.
That's a great point. And I was saying to my friend yesterday, I was saying their hatred of Trump is so unbelievably amazing. And it's so unfounded in reality, because Trump is a negotiator. Trump is not a right-wing ideologue, as they would call it. Trump, they could work with Trump and get deals done because he's a deal maker, okay? They think that he is evil because they've been told he's been evil, and they're just so, you know, possessed with this TDS. The guy they gotta fear is not Trump. They should just let Trump win. It's what the country wants. 4 years and Trump will be gone, okay? But if they succeed in taking him down with these bullshit indictments and putting him in jail and arresting all the January 6th grandmas and whatnot, if they are going to be successful in this and prevent Trump from becoming president again, Trump's not the guy they got to fear. It's the guy after Trump, the guy that's going to imprison the political opponents and take Richard Maddow and you know, Joy Behar off the air and put him in prison. That's the Franco after Trump that they should be afraid of. But they're so consumed by it that they can't see it.
Wait, we're arresting Joe Behar? When is this happening? Because I definitely want to know more about this. This is a rabbit hole that I have not explored yet, Mike. Yeah. This is new.
You didn't watch the View yesterday? Because it's on my calendar every morning. You didn't see, you know, they had Maddow on with Joy Behar. And they're talking about if Trump wins, they're gonna imprison us. You know, like Trump's list is to get Joy Behar off the View. The best thing we could do for our movement in America First is let Joy Behar and Whoopi sit and humiliate themselves every morning. That's the best thing we could do.
It's absolutely incredible that they're still on air, and that, you know, the money behind these big networks keep people like them in the mix. To me, is just unbelievable. But then again, you look at, I didn't call her it, you called her it, Mophead, and the other characters around this president that, you know, again, I want to respect the office. I want to be a proud American. I don't want to disrespect the office of President of the United States, but truly, what are we looking at? I mean, the cast of characters is unbelievable. Isn't it, Kristin? It's wild.
I might also add to this that this is Trump derangement syndrome, right? This really is, because I've known some of these people for a decade and a half. In 2010, when I ran for governor in New York as a libertarian, I went on Joy Behar's show myself. She was lovely to me. I have a clip of her saying, I think I'm going to vote for you. Okay, this is 2010. In I want to say it was 17, I put Roger Stone on The View. They were open to having people. They were lovely. No, it was like at the end of 2016. They were lovely to Roger. Roger has a clip of himself on The View where he said something to Joy Behar, and he said, I'm the only person you're going to meet with a dick in the front and a dick in the back because of his Richard Nixon tattoo. She blushed. She said, you have to show me. And Roger said, ha, 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 I'll show you afterwards, or something like that. And she blushed again. And afterwards, they sent me the loveliest thank you for putting him on that show. So people, before the Trump hatred grew out of control and people were, maybe scared of fear mongering, it was a different place. And these people behaved much less hatefully.
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, all I can think of, and this is terrible, but I saw a picture of Kathy Griffin yesterday. I don't know if anybody's seen any recent pictures of her. I shouldn't laugh out loud, but you look at some of these people, and I would agree, Kristen, it's like some sort of weird circus demon has taken over, and he has altered these people that were once, at least, like you're saying, she was somewhat relatable, somewhat authentic, someone who you could have a conversation with. And literally some sort of circus demon has come in and stolen their souls. I mean, Mike, you got any, input on this?
Absolutely. And Kristen makes a great point. So these people, not only did they love Kristen and Roger Stone and whatnot, they loved Trump before he ran. So, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, and they gave him NAACP awards for things he did in the city. Because I'm from New York. We remember this. The celebrities loved Trump. What changed is he decided to run for president. But not only he decided to run for president, like you decided to run as a libertarian, Kristen, in New York. He ran as president, and he went after the Uniparty. Okay. He went after their holy grail. He said, okay, he goes, I'm going to go for president. I'm going to put America first. And I know both of you guys are grifters. Both of you parties, the Republicans and Democrats, are there to steal from the American taxpayer, launder money to enrich yourselves, your family, your business partners. The minute he decided to go after that, and the big thing was their holy grail was the military-industrial complex, when he went after the Iraq war and whatnot, and he went after all these people, he became persona non grata. He became their number one enemy, because you could do a lot of things. We can argue tax rates and welfare reform, and we could do all that stuff. And that's all great but their holy grail is that military industrial complex, that grift. And both parties are in on it. Okay. And the minute they saw that this guy is going after our money, okay, we both need to take him out. And that, I think, was his biggest sin. And Tucker talks about this. That was Trump's biggest sin, going after their holy grail, that military-industrial complex, along with the rest of the grift in government.
Incredible, because, the next thing, I mean, you led right into where I was going with all of this. You can't deny the Bidenomics of it all. And, Ed Henry sent me this table. Kristen, he put it in our group chat with us, and I want to get to it in a minute. But I want to talk about the debt that so many of us are facing, our chat is facing. People can't stop talking about it. And we have a sponsor now, donewithdebt.com, that is helping people get rid of some of this debt that they've acquired since this takeover of this globalist empire and Bidenomics. And Done with Debt, has new strategies that they can give you. And none of these include things like bankruptcy or taking out a loan. They're actually going to work with you to figure out and tailor a plan that works for you to get you out of debt. So you go to donewithdebt.com. It's donewithdebt.com. You select VNN, the Legit News Network, at checkout, donewithdebt.com. Our chat can't stop talking about it, but people are facing real problems. I'm going to give you a price right now, MAGA Mike. Orange juice, January of 2020. Let's play The Price is Right. What was the price? What do you think the price was of orange juice in January of 2020?
$1.99.
Take a wild guess. It was $2.99. Okay, which even then might have been a little bit higher. We'll say January 2020. That's when COVID started out. Things were starting to take a turn, right? Because we're already in 2020 at that point. But January of 2024, that same orange juice is up to $4.29. That is a 43% increase. Kristen Davis, what is going on?
I am trying to add this to our show so that everyone can see it.
Oh, amazing. Look at you. Look, we're on the fly now, folks. This is a new day in production at Wake Up Patriots. I love it. Thank you. So, yeah, there's a lot of things on here. You know, the one that struck me that I thought was really, you know, one of the things that I've encountered, and I've gone to the grocery store and I've bought this item and I've said, wait a second, how much is this now? Is basically butter, which sounds like something so simple. It's up 37%, started at $3.99, it's up to $5.49. Can you believe that? Isn't that crazy, Mike?
I think it's misleading that most people, you know, not most, but a good majority of people don't understand that inflation resets each year. So they're looking at this 3% that they keep touting, right? Oh, inflation's down. It's 3.3% or whatever it is right now. And people don't understand that's still like cumulatively Joe Biden's inflation over time is over 18% since he took office. And they don't understand that I believe it was last 2022, it was like, or 23, I can't remember which year, no, 22, 9%. So if you had $10, it's 9% more. So, you know, 10.90, is that 10.90? And now it's another 3% and then another 3%. And when you know, add it all up, he's over 18% right now. And people are still wondering, you know, well, they're saying inflation is going down, but why is this so expensive? Well, that's why it's so expensive.
It's the rate of increase. And I'm Karyn, you know, I'm a CPA, and they could doctor these numbers and fool the simpletons, you know, any which way they want to believe any numbers. But I was just telling my friend today, when we moved to North Carolina in 2019, you know, my wife would go to the grocery store and I would see the charge, $120, $110 for the groceries for the week. Now it's double. It's double. So that's 100% for you kids at home doing the math. When you double a number, it's 100% increase. I don't know where they get 3%, 9%, 18%, these numbers. You can make a spreadsheet saying anything you want, okay, to fool anybody. But things have doubled, and the public knows they're not being bullshit by their numbers. And I think he's really seeing these in the poll numbers in the Black community, in the lower income communities. The people are like, I can't afford anything anymore. Like a 1-bedroom apartment here in Wilmington used to be able to get it for like $800 a month. It's now $1,400 a month. Okay. How are people at the lower income rents even surviving? I don't even know. Okay. Because it's insane. And because we spent $9 trillion during the scamdemic, okay, to hand money out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, okay, you just cannot do that and sustain an economy. It doesn't work. Eventually, you have to pay the man, okay? And this is who is paying the man now. It's not the Wall Street guys. It's not the people that hold our treasuries. It's the lower income people with inflation, and they are dying. And that's why sleepy Joe Pudding Brain is losing droves of people. You know, CNN poll came out the other day, 23% of the Black vote Trump is getting. That's unheard of. He got, historically, you know this, Kristen, 6-8% of the Black vote a Republican gets. Trump is getting 4 times the Black vote because they see what's going on, not only with the scam indictments and the trials, which they're very sensitive to in that community, but the inflation is killing them. And that's where Trump's going to win the election.
Well, let's hope so, because it's really wild to think that, you know, real people that are out there every day living their lives aren't seeing what's happening. You know, Hardman's in the chat right now, and he brought up a fact that I wanted to share. And Kristen bringing the facts, by the way, the chat was on fire when you were going over those numbers. But Hardman pointing out that Dollar Tree is now the $1.25 tree, an increase of 25%. And I don't know if either of you have been to Dollar Tree lately, but you go into Dollar Tree and there is nothing for $1 anymore. It's either $1.25, and now they even have a $3 and $5 aisle. And, you know, real Americans, dare I say it, real Americans out there every day struggling. And My Patriots Supply is one of our sponsors, one of our good sponsors going back in the day, gave me a new outline of what they would like for me to talk to you about. And I had to laugh because I'm going to give you the line from them, the kind of danger that only real Americans are ready for. And they ask, what makes a real American? The defender of the truth, a freedom fighter. And we definitely got a lot of those here in our chat. And I just absolutely love that this read that they sent me. But we know that real Americans in our chat, we prepare with My Patriots Supply. I know you do too, MAGA Mike and Kristin. And they've been around since 2008. This really popular 4-week emergency food kit that everybody's buying, that our chat can't stop talking about, the fettuccine Alfredo. Each kit has 2,000 calories a day. It's enough to feed your family. And honestly, it's more economical than what you put up than this Bidenomics that we're dealing with right now. You go to the supermarket, and a shout out to MAGA Mike's wife that I want to get to in a minute, $110 for groceries. I don't know where she's shopping, but you can shop and prepare with VNN.com. And you can get your kit, your 4-week kit from My Patriots Supply, and you can order as many as you need. You're going to save $50 on each kit. It lasts up to 25 years, so it's not going to go bad, and free shipping is included. So go to preparewithvnn.com and get yours. MAGA Mike, MAGA Mike, you have your My Patriots Supply ready to go?
We do indeed. Karyn, a lot of people are saying in the chat to lower your volume because yours is much louder than ours. So just lower
really,
your
Kristin,
volume.
Can you do that, or can I do that? How do we do that? Do we know?
Let me see if I can do that. I mean,
I could lower my voice. I could try to talk more quietly.
That's almost impossible,
That would be
Karyn.
preferable. I mean, I can
Oh,
do
she
it.
just
I
did
can
it.
really,
She just did.
I could work on it. Did you
Yeah,
turn
a
down
little
the
louder
volume?
than that, I think, should be good. Yeah.
Well, I did lower my voice. This is how I normally
perfect.
talk. So
I think that's perfect now.
is that better?
Yep,
Oh, good. Sorry, chat. Thanks for letting us know. We're still working out the glitches, but this is like week 3, MAGA Mike. I think we're doing pretty good.
Oh, you guys are doing great. You guys, and I'm looking in the chat, and everybody is saying how they're struggling and how people are, putting things on credit cards and whatnot. I mean, they say the economy is great. Okay, I say the economy is great for the very high people that, and we talked about the money that went out for COVID and whatnot. There's still a lot of that money out there for the people that had big businesses. But the people at the lower rungs are destroyed. And that's why it's always going to come down to the economy at the end of the day. And we remember in '92 with James Carville saying the famous line that got Clinton in "It's the economy, stupid." Remember that? And you have to realize that it's going to be the economy that does it at the end of the day. And who do they think is going to make the economy better? Who is going to, get inflation under control? Because that's really what's killing the lower end of the people.
Yeah, and the lower end of the people, one of our great friends in our chat, Lou Peck, is talking about a food bank that I guess he's involved with, and they have 450 families coming in a week. And you think, I don't know how big his hometown is, but that sounds like a lot of families to me in what I believe is a smaller community. It's incredible how people are suffering. And I see it here. Boca Helping Hands is one of our local South Florida charities that does a food bank, and they line up in a church parking lot not too far from me. And sometimes if I'm on my way running errands, I will see them. And there are people lined up, and these are people that are, driving cars, that have families at home, but just need that little bit of extra help in this Bidenomics situation.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
incredible. Kristin, I raising your little boy, right now and being in the situation, have you ever spent $110 on groceries? Because MAGA Mike's wife is winning here with her grocery spending. And I want to say that I think she might be giving other wives sort of a bad name. Like, I don't know that you should put that out when you talk in a future show, MAGA. Maybe go with like $350 a week. Wouldn't you agree,
Okay.
Kristin?
I'm impressed. I mean, I would be so happy with $100 a week. And he's only 7, but we spend a lot in nuggets, chicken nuggets, especially if you want to buy healthy ones. And when you have a picky eating kid, I think I'm spending like at least $20-30 a week just on organic chicken nuggets.
Okay.
So
Picky eating kids. I'm going to shout out to my daughter, Jen. I'm sure she's listening.
There you go. And, I don't know about the organic chicken nuggets, but I know we have almost 1,000 people in our chat right now. And Aunt Jana was talking about the GMOs and the food supply and asking about, things related to that. I know, MAGA Mike, you've looked into a little bit of that and you've had some conversations with other people around you about that. Where are we at with that? Where's the food supply situation? I mean, is that only Donald Trump can fix that, right? Nothing else is getting fixed before he's back in office.
I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen, there's been like tons of fires at these food processing plants across the country this year. Now, I'm not, I'm a busy guy, still have my practice. I don't go down a ton of these rabbit holes, whatnot, but there's some forces out there, I mean, you get into the guys that talk about the food processing plants, you get into the guys that talk about the sky is spraying, with the chemtrails. You get into all that type of stuff. You can go down all of these rabbit holes and see just how far the corruption goes and whatnot. But yeah, I don't spend a lot of time on that just because I try to, overcome it, just make more money and try to enjoy my life as much as possible for this sliver of time that we're here, because we're going to be gone before you know it. And if you don't start enjoying your life by the time you're 75, you're in a walker, with the tennis balls on it,
Are you in the Oval Office, Kristin? Because these days it seems like we're, letting people in that maybe don't have the cognitive ability that we used to ask for.
Well, I think you have to be over 70 just to maybe be considered. I don't know.
But are you smarter? Do you think that you're smarter than a 7th grader? Or what, even let me ask a better question. Do we think that the Biden voter is smarter than a 7th grader? Because I want to show you that there's hope.
As long as they don't
America.
cheat, they will.
Do you know people that have changed their mind about Trump?
A lot of, well, where I go to school, which is Elk Mound, Wisconsin, a lot of people love Trump. My friends love Trump. It's just a few people who don't like Trump. I know my mom is kind of in the middle. I'm not sure about that.
So do you think that Trump has become more popular among young people?
Definitely.
Yeah, like in recent years?
I know this for change. When I went to the sports center in Eau Claire, I think the Airheads, now they're 50 cents. They used to be 25, but now it's 50.
So you guys are getting affected by the inflation too with the Airheads. Yeah, so that makes Trump is more appealing then.
Yeah.
For that reason? Okay. If you could say something to President Trump, what would you say?
That you're goated and good luck in the elections.
There you go. Smart kid, Mike. Smart kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he puts a good point, and this is the point I get all the time when people come up to me like, how are we going to win this election? Trump's more popular, and you look at the polls from 2020 to 2024, it's an 8-point swing. If you really go back, and Ed knows I do this, Karyn, you look at the polls, the swing state polls, but the national polls, and they're not indicative of everything, but they're indicative of, where the movement is. And Trump has gotten more popular because, one, people realize he's not the devil, even though they've been brainwashed to believe he is. That's one. Two, the disaster of the Biden administration has been truly historic. The border, the inflation, the never-ending wars with Ukraine, and the money launderer in chief, Zelensky. So there's never been more of an incompetent administration than this. They're outwardly telling us they hate us. Okay, we're going to import the third world to take your place. Again, I talk to Tucker all the time. I talk about Tucker all the time. He talks about this. Your administration, your government hates you. I love my country and I hate my government. Okay, that's the line I get all the time. So they ask me, how, if Trump is much more popular, how are we going to avoid the cheating? Okay. And what I tell them is, you're not going to eliminate the cheating 100%, because Democrats, like they breathe, they cheat. Okay. They've been cheating for years. They find different ways to do it. And we're going to figure out the ways to figure out what they did in 2020. But it's like putting your fingers in a dike. You put your fingers in the dike and more holes sprout up. They're going to find other ways to cheat. Okay. The only comfort that I have, is that we know this. And Lara Trump has been assigned to do that one job at the RNC, to not eliminate, but at least minimize the cheating so we could win beyond that margin. And I think that's where we're headed. And I think the people at CNN and MSNBC and whatnot, they know that they're in trouble. Look at James Carville. James Carville has been screaming for months now. We are in trouble, not only with the economy, but with this guy that, people know he's not prepared, not capable of handling this job. Okay. Now everyone says, oh, he's not running the country anyway. But I go, yeah, he kind of is, because he gets any vote on a lot of decisions. And we got to make sure that somebody is at least competent in there. Are they going to pull the plug on him? I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. I hear a lot of people that says, they're going to pull the plug soon for him, because it's getting to the point where they can't not do it. Love you to know your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, Kristin, go ahead and weigh in. I'm reading the chat here too, and I want to give you some chat comments in just a second. But anything to add to that, Kristin?
I don't know. I hear rumors, but I've heard the same rumors for a year, right? I've been working on a political PAC for over a year now, and I heard back in September they were planning on putting Gavin Newsom in place. And as a former Californian, who's renounced to their state, I couldn't possibly imagine that being a thing. So I've heard rumors for 10 months now.
I don't know how they do that. How do they jump over Kamala? How do they do that and not piss off the black females and the woke white liberal women? How do they do that? That's a trick that I don't think that they could pull off, because they'll just alienate half of their base. So I think the biggest shock to them was that Kamala was such a disaster. They thought they'd bring this guy in as a figurehead and let him dodder around and whatnot for 4 years and implement their schedule, their agenda from behind, and then slide her in the last year. But I think they realized in polling and her disastrous, and Karyn and Ed, you guys did this with the word salad VP stuff. She is an unmitigated disaster. She is as dumb as a box of bricks tied to a bag of stones. So she cannot, do it. But I think that's their only shot at this point. At this late date, if they pull him, she's got to be the one. So they're looking at polling and they're like, she polls worse than him, which is staggering to them, because they thought she was the rock star. Okay. But she is just, I swear it stuns me how dumb she is. Stuns me.
It's stunning. It's stunning, but it's stunning again. Like I look at all of these people, from, the press secretary on, you just look at every single one of them and you scratch your head and you say, how is this possible? How is this cast of characters? How is this not an SNL skit? I've said that before. SNL's gone down the toilet, but how is this real? How is this not satire? Because it looks and feels like satire on so many days, and then you realize it's not.
It happens when you hire not based on merit, but you hire based on DEI. Mop Top, Karine Jean-Pierre, and Kamala and everybody in that administration, they are diversity hires. They are hired not because of the merits of their skills and whatnot, but they're based on, their sexual orientation, their genitalia, their race. That's what happens when you don't hire qualified people. You see what happens here. And now they're stuck. They have who is on the bench? Kristen talks about, gruesome Newsom, but I mean, absent him, who is an unmitigated disaster, but he will fool a lot of the white Denali moms in yoga pants going to the Soul Cycle class. He will.
Easy on the yoga moms, MAGA. Easy. I take that personally.
No offense intended, but all taken. I get it.
But California had their chance, right? They tried to recall him and they couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the effort that went into doing a recall, and they still couldn't do it. But I think sitting on the sidelines might also be Michelle Obama, right? She solves that female problem, race problem, and then it would be, to appeal to that demographic.
I've heard, Michelle. I mean, can you imagine how polarizing she would be? Okay. The racism just oozes out of her skin. You could just see it, her seething hatred of white people. You just know that I don't buy the Michelle Obama thing, just like I didn't buy the Oprah thing, when they were floating her name out. You need to have some level of, competency with regard to running something. And we knew Barry, he never ran an lemonade stand, and we saw what the country did when he took over. Okay. He had no skills of running anything. So I don't see Michelle Obama thing. I can see, the Newsom thing. I could see that, but I don't see it here. They've just waited too long, and now they're in a box. They don't know what to do. I have no idea. I think they're just going to roll the dice with Pudding Brain.
They might. And, and Super Trooper wants to correct you. It's not Newsom, it's New Scum. He wants to say he has made up that nickname. So there we go. So that is what you will now. We have Mophead and New Scum, according to the chat. I mean, and the chat's all over Big Mike, but I don't want to, disgrace the name Mike. So we don't want to get into that subject right now.
That used to be my name before MAGA Mike. People used to call me Big Mike before MAGA Mike. So, I get the Big Mike thing all the time and whatnot, but that's talking about rabbit holes. That's an interesting rabbit hole. Ever go down that one night at like 10 o'clock at night on your iPad? Go down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
I mean, you look very svelte right now. I have to say, I think the golf's been good to you. You look like you're staying in shape.
Yeah. It's the camera. The camera has a slimming feature. I check all those boxes. Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe you were working with our sponsor, Lean. I thought maybe you were on the Lean program now, because if you have more than 10 pounds to lose, that's the way you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
I will consider that. Kristen, I know you have your package on the way, but there is a weight loss supplement, and it's from the trusted doctors. It's Lean, and it lowers your blood sugar. It's a great alternative if you're somebody who's looking at all of this injectable weight loss and you're thinking that maybe that's an option. This might be, an avenue you want to take first is try Lean. You get 15% off, free rush shipping. You go to leanvnn.com. You enter VNN for your 15% discount. It's VNN. It's leanvnn.com. Got to give it a try if you're frustrated. But MAGA Mike looking pretty good, staying in shape, playing golf, and out there on the golf course talking MAGA. Where can people find you now on your podcast?
Yeah, I'm going to ramp it up. It's all at talkingmaga.com, and I'm going to start posting, election stuff in, my little tidbits, 90 seconds, 30, 3 minutes or so. Keep it short. But yeah, talkingmaga.com.
I was very upset. I saw that Speaker Johnson has been referred to as MAGA Mike this morning when I went ahead looking for this amazing graphic that you have for your podcast. And I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole and I did a little internet search. And when I searched MAGA Mike, Speaker Johnson came up, and I said, that's not MAGA Mike. So we're going to have to clear that up and get a little bit more internet searchability so we don't have that confusion, because the real MAGA Mike is here with us on Wake Up Patriots, Chris.
But I will say I have magamike.com, so I may, call Johnson and start negotiating that if he wants that domain, because I will negotiate a pretty penny for that, I'm sure.
I don't think the chat definitely agrees that Johnson is no MAGA Mike.
No.
I know. I was shocked when I saw that.
To say the least. Yep. Absolutely.
Puppy Mama wants to know if you're ever going to be on Rumble. I mean, you're going to be here on this show again with us. You'll come back as our guest, right?
Sure, absolutely. No, I do have a Rumble page created and I got to post it there because, YouTube took me down. When I started my podcast a year or so ago, I was doing all the, the exposing all the COVID lies and the scamdemic and whatnot. And I had a podcast, it was about 30, 40 minutes. And I just walked through how all the doctors were getting paid to push the poison clot shot. Okay. And I really, just went through the CARES Act, showed them how Blue Cross Blue Shield is paying them based on how many shots they administer to their patients. And I just walked through how everybody's getting paid and whatnot. And YouTube thought that that was against the COVID information. And they censored that and took that video down, which is amazing, how the American Stasi, we call it the censorship of the Nazis. They call us Nazis, and they're the ones that censor. They would put Goebbels to shame. These people at YouTube and Google and whatnot. You got to use their platforms at some point. But like I said, Rumble is getting a lot of traction, and a lot of people are watching on Rumble because people are sick of it. People are sick of not being able to voice their opinions and post their content and whatnot. I mean, thank God for Elon Musk. That's all I got to say, because if you look at the landscape and the history of American media and his acquisition of that personally and not having it as a board, or a public company where he could just run it and fire 80% of those woke DEI hires that we talked about. He fired 80% of the staff at Twitter when he came on, and it didn't miss a beat. Fired all those censors. What their only job was to censor people like the three of us, okay, and everybody in this chat. That was their only job, and he fired all of them. Because if you don't, the free speech thing blows me away. People say, "Oh, you're kind of free speech," but remember Don Lemonhead when he was talking, and because it's misinformation. When free speech is free, what don't you understand about free? You idiot. Okay, it's speech that you don't like. That's the whole point of it. If everybody liked the speech, we wouldn't need the First Amendment. These people are so beyond idiots. I swear to God. And thank God for Elon Musk and whatnot, because he really planted the seed. And this election season, they're not going to be able to hide all the stuff they did. They're not going to be able to hide the Hunter laptop thing like they did in 2020. Okay, they can't do it. Okay, because it gets out there on X, which is the old Twitter. And I don't know if you guys are big on Twitter, but that's where the conversation starts. People post their videos, post their content, post their opinions. And it creates, the free speech that the founders wanted.
Absolutely, Kristen. It's like we've created that here with our chat. I was dipping into the chat while we were talking, and we got quite a few people in there. I mean, we have a lot of people that are tired of the fake news media. Almost 1,000 people in the chat right now. That are looking for some sort of an outlet, and I'm really happy to be here with them every morning. I know you are too, and we're going to be back next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, 9:00 right here. Definitely have MAGA Mike back on soon, because this has been an amazing conversation today. And we had Naomi Wolf on yesterday, and she came on and talked a little bit about, this upcoming bird flu pandemic. And Kristen, you were quite afraid of that. And I think you're still feeling a little bit of fear. Are you still scared from yesterday?
I feel like, I personally, and probably every American, probably everyone in the world suffered some sort of PTSD from being locked down, right? Because, and maybe we've forgotten it a bit because it's 4+ years later, but, I remember vividly sitting on my couch and, and hearing it was 2 weeks to slow the spread and that millions of people were going to die. And I'm in Florida and my mother's in California. And I just was, so scared for my family and if I was going to lose people close to me. And when I think about them doing that again, or even manipulating a virus to release it just to gain control over people, I wouldn't put that past them. And, it's deeply upsetting to me, and it brings back some of that trauma. And, maybe that's also a good thing. Maybe it's also a good thing for us to remember what they did so that we stay vigilant in not allowing them to do it again. So
I mean, not again, but we were talking about yesterday, and Mike, I'm going to read you some of these headlines, and this is just the headlines from yesterday. We've got the New York Times with a bird flu pandemic. Here's what it might look like. You've got the CDC director who's now predicting the bird flu pandemic, this ex-CDC director. You've got the Detroit Free Press yesterday reporting that there's bird flu in Michigan. Then you've got Stat 22 hours ago saying bird flu preparations are needed in U.S. hospitals, and it goes on and on and on. Is this going to be what's next? You were banned from YouTube for talking about COVID. Is bird flu next? Are we going to get banned on this show because we're talking about this?
No, they're not going to get away with that again. The demented people, that wore the mask and took the 16 boosters, it's like a bad boyfriend. They keep going back to it because they loved COVID. Okay. And I hate to use the word Karens, but the Karens of the world, loved COVID and whatnot.
You've taken a shot at Karen's yoga moms, and your wife is spending $101 a week on groceries.
100%.
I mean, this is a lot.
No, but they're not going to get away with this again. They're going to. It's like they try to go back to the old boyfriend because they loved it, and they just, it was their nirvana. Okay, the COVID thing, and they used it for a lot of things. They used it to get Trump out, to do the mail-in ballots so they can cheat. They used it to trash the economy so they can say Trump lost jobs. It was their Band-Aid catch-all for everything. They're going to try to create it with the bird flu, but it's just not going to work. People, even my leftist friends, which I do have some, believe it or not, realize that it was above and beyond. And I've gotten admissions from some of my guys that I golf with that I was right on the vaccine stuff and I was right on COVID, which is shocking. Most people will go to their graves before they'll admit that, they were wrong on COVID. I mean, their kids could have myocarditis and have 4 heart attacks. And we say, well, at least, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. That's their favorite line. But no, the answer to your question is they will not use bird flu to get away with anything. There will never be another lockdown like there was with the COVID scamdemic.
Let's hope not, Kristen. Let's hope that they don't take that direction again. But bad boyfriend, was COVID a trauma bond? I mean, bad boyfriend, keep running back. I mean, I actually think Mike's made some very good points. I'd love for you to weigh in on this bad boyfriend. Was it a trauma bond? Did these people have a trauma bond with COVID? Is that what's happening?
Oh, without a doubt. That was, they loved it. I mean, you remember that time, and Kristen talks about being on the couch and whatnot, and she was in the free state of Florida. She wasn't in California. Your mom was in California, but we were in North Carolina, and I mean, my friends and family, to their dismay, they know I never touched a mask. I walked in everywhere, I would be asked for a mask. Waitresses and hostesses in restaurants would run to me to the table. So, sir, if you need your mask, they would put it down on the table just in case you need it when you walk up to go to the bathroom, because COVID's here and not here. So they would put it on the table, and I'd put my drink right on it. I'm like, yeah, I'll use it as a coaster. Thanks, sweetheart. So I had fun with it. It was like a game for me, but it was just an amazing time in this country's history. And the thing that bothered me the most about it is not what the left did with it and used it to their advantage. I know that's what they do. But what really disappointed me was how many people just accepted it. How many people just went along to get along, didn't want to rock the boat and whatnot. And these are a lot of people that I know, and a lot of people that we all know. That it's just, you could say in the beginning we didn't know what it was and whatnot, and I'll give you a week or so for that. But after that, it was absolute abuse of government power and tyranny. It was so above and beyond anything that I've ever imagined that would happen in this country. And now I know moving forward what they're capable of and what people will push back on. And it's very little.
It's tyranny. It's incredible. And I think, if you haven't seen the clip, and I didn't send you this one, Kristen, but I think it was on a group chat with Ed yesterday, or Eddie, as my MAGA Mike likes to call him. And yeah, Senator Joni Ernest was caught on a hot mic, and she said, never trust a man that has been eaten or thinks that his relatives have been eaten by cannibals. Is this how we live now, Kristen? I thought it was a good hot mic moment. Did you see that clip that Ed put
I
on the
did
chat?
not see the clip.
It's
I did
funny,
not see
very
it.
funny.
I think, MAGA Mike brings up a very good point about compliance. To what degree, if something does happen now, will we comply? And, different areas have different leadership, right? So I was in the free state of Florida, but I remember driving over to Fresh Market because I love Fresh Market. And there was a big sign. It was like the second day that you cannot come in without a mask. I didn't even have a mask. I thought these people are crazy. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. What's going on? And I walked in and I got kicked out of Fresh Market. They came up to me and they're like, man, and they didn't even want to come close to me, right? So they stayed, 10 feet away. Ma'am, you must leave the market. And I was like, for what? And they said, you don't have a mask. I said, I don't even own a mask. Like, what? I mean, what am I going to do here? And they're like, I said, well, can I just get something real quick? I'm really hungry. And they said, no. And then maybe 2 months later, I went to Nashville. I was at an event with one of my clients. I'm walking down Broadway to go to a restaurant, and they stopped me outside. Put on a mask. It's a $150 fine if you don't put on a mask. And I looked at them like, it's June or whatever. It's warm. I'm not putting on a mask. I'm not doing what you tell me. And, I think there's some level of, to what degree will people stand up and say, okay, you know what? I'm fine getting kicked off an airplane. I'm fine getting kicked out of a grocery store. I'm fine. I told the guy, give me your $150 fine. I'm not putting the mask on to walk this street. He didn't, but I was okay paying the $150. So to what degree will we all say no more, or will we just cave? And that, Karyn?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, I'm hoping MAGA Mike's right. And, he's got a lot of faith in America. I mean, that's why he's talking MAGA. So you got to catch up with us. We're going to be back again next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, 9 a.m. So I want to give a shout out to our amazing chat, which is still going strong. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We're at an hour, so I think we're going to wrap this Wonderland Wednesday and come back with a little Trump talk on Tuesday of next week at 9 a.m., Kristin. And I hope everybody will join us. And MAGA, it was so good seeing you. I can't believe that it's been so long. We're not going to let that happen again. We're going to have you back really soon.
Love being here, KT, and nice meeting you, Kristin. Then we'll definitely see you again.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
MAGA on.
All right, Patriots. See you next week.